LinkedIn echo chamber. This is Emma's like Teen Spirit. Today I've got Ben with me. Ben, how are you doing?
Yeah, great, John. How are you?
I'm really well. Ben, thanks for your support and thanks for coming back. So no intros needed. Ben was with me episode 3, which was nearly 50 episodes ago. Ben, where's the time gone?
I don't know. It's just flown by, hasn't it? What an achievement to almost get to your New Year's resolution already, and we're only in the middle of December.
This is it. Thank you for your kind words. It only took 1,000 text messages for me to get you back on. So felt like nothing. Felt like easy work for me. How about for you?
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here, as it was before, and as it always would be.
Thank you, Ben. Ben, you've been on my list for some time. And the reason is because of the job that you do. So I'll introduce you. You're at HelloFresh. Everyone knows that from the food boxes that are arriving at their houses. But you're a product analytics director, and I always had you on my list because I was quite interested with product analytics. So I wanted to do an interview where someone would explain a little bit about what this is, how it might differ from regular analytics and those sorts of things, and then we'll go on to some more detail. But why don't you kick us off? Can you help us with a definition, Ben? What is product analytics?
Yeah, so a little bit about me before we dive into that. So yeah, I'm now the director for product analytics at HelloFresh. But before that, done a variety of different sorts of analytical roles. So it was really exciting for me to start doing this role about 3.5 years ago, and to get a sense of the differences. And I guess you said it's kind of different to I can't remember what the word you used was, but standard analytics
Regular.
or normal analytics, regular
Yeah,
analytics.
yeah.
I don't know whether there is regular analytics anymore. You know, that we kind of sit in front of quite a fractured space because of the need for specialism and the opportunity that you get from diving into that specialism and positioning yourself and your career towards the different uses of analytics. But let me talk a little bit about what I think is different about product analytics, and you know how those specialisms lend itself to that. So firstly, the mission of product analytics is to support data-driven decision making in cross-functional tech teams, right? So, you know, building digital products for consumers, and you know, so the product analyst is a part of a very agile team, which is trying to optimize that product experience based on data. So an understanding of firstly customer behavior. So it's very customer centric in its nature. We want to really understand how users of our features and products you know, find those experiences. And secondly, with a really close eye on the outcomes that we seek, as we say, you know, so that's in terms of metrics. You know, how are we doing with respect to the metrics that we want to drive, and keeping a very real-time view of that to again support continuous product development and decision making. And ultimately, we are doing those in order to make to achieve business growth, right? So how you then relate those success metrics to the business is really important. So that's how I kind of define product analytics. How is it different? So firstly, you're looking at behavioral metrics kind of versus business KPIs. You know, a typical, you know, analyst, a regular analyst might be, you know, more focused on financial metrics and what we consider to be kind of very much kind of lagging indicators of success. What we want to do is get upstream towards the behavioral proxies for those. So firstly, kind of focus on those, but secondly, we want to build a bridge between them to understand what the connection is between interacting with a little green button on a website and what that means for revenue downstream in terms of, you know, how that can kind of aggregate in both in terms of loyalty or acquisition of customers. It's
How about this?
yeah.
I like the part about the cross-functional bit because that was my understanding of product analytics. It's kind of trying to put the analytical people a bit closer to the action, and therefore they see these upstream things. The reason I wanted you to talk about it is I never worked anywhere that used this philosophy. It was always like there was a central analytics group, and you're right. My memories of that is you're normally asked like, "Hey, how many did we sell last week?" And the person in their area has to come to the analytics group. Whereas I think product analytics people are a bit closer to working within the agile teams or sit next to all these other people. That was kind of my knowledge. So could you give us an insight actually that we didn't prepare for? But how is your team kind of structured there? Do you have like I don't know, are they structured across I don't know, the products, or are they structured over the experiences that the customers are having? Could you give us a bit of an insight as to the team structure that you have there?
So the team structure mirrors the organizational structure in the tech teams in HelloFresh. And that means that's really so that the analysts in the team are embedded into those teams and can really learn about the context that they're sat in. So firstly, they need to be experts in the data. They need to be experts in the customer experiences that those customers are that we're exposing to customers. We want them also to kind of continuously develop hypotheses about those customers as well. So again, kind of getting context is really important. I think that also being the personal relationships within those cross-functional teams, feeling a sense of team within there, rather than the team being just the analytics part. So of course we have the functional team as product analysts, where we're trying to share best practices, share knowledge and approaches, and support individuals in terms of their development as analysts. But they also need to really understand the kind of the team context and of the cross-functional team and what they're trying to achieve, what their strategies are, how we can use data to sharpen up those strategies, to challenge them, to and then to execute against them, and to make sure that we're confirming, we're continuously kind of updating our hypotheses, so that it's not just we're not trying to develop a feature which drives a huge change. I mean, we would love it if we could, but in terms of optimization, we want to continuously iterate and continuously get better, and so we need to be really kind of rooted in those hypotheses and what we believe about customers in a radically underfitted model of what we know about how customers feel about our product. We need to continuously be reviewing that.
Ben, what about the history of all this? Like, how has product analytics happened? Like, what do you know about it, or what have you picked up since you've been in this space? Like, how's it emerged as a thing?
Yeah, well, I can work backwards from today, really. So today in large tech teams like HelloFresh, we do things in a very bespoke way. We want to have control to be able to define exactly the right metrics, and to be able to customize the dashboards that we present in front of our counterparts in product and engineering, and ultimately to kind of bring that flexibility. However, it wasn't always like that, and this space has really kind of arisen from web analytics, in the dawn of that type of analytics. However, when websites, when we started to build websites and started to optimize them, it was much more about the kind of revenue and really central kind of web property centric view. So it was less of a customer centric view and more of a, how many page views have I got, how much web traffic do I have, and some simple kind of performance metrics. So of course, out of that, there grew this opportunity to do more customer-centric analysis, and that was really more of a platform play in the early 2000s, where tools like Google Analytics started to emerge, but also there were companies like Mixpanel and Amplitude providing kind of specific event kind of base tracking solutions to provide deeper insights into user behavior. So they enabled teams to start to glimpse user-centric views of the data. But as I say, as that kind of evolved into the 2010s, I don't know how we describe that decade, John, maybe you can help me out with that, but it became clear that those provided a bit too much rigidity and a bit too much constraint. So now, as I say, we do things as much as we can in an automated way, while of course the opportunity for scale in the analytics that we do is still there. So we're trying to find resonance in terms of the work that we do so that we can scale that across different use cases. But at the same time, providing the flexibility for each individual cross-functional team to be able to really focus on the metrics that they want and present them in the ways that are most relevant to them.
Yeah, I think when I heard of all this for the first time, it was that cross-functional bit. So I heard it coming from big tech like Google. Google were kind of having product analysts, and for everyone at home, there's this kind of Venn diagram of what does it take to be a good data scientist, and that domain knowledge is one of the bubbles. So when you start to put people there, you're just mixing more, so you've got a chance of picking that up. And then the other side of big tech is always the experimentation. So it sounds, sounds basic, like, oh, it's an A/B test is experimentation. But the data science people were always needed because the data was always a car crash. So there's always like 500 things going on at once, missing columns, customers stratified the wrong way. So to make experiments work well, having the data person, in amongst them all to try and support them was a good thing. So this was my knowledge of it, Ben. So, all right, thanks for the history lesson. Well, what about the benefits to what you do today? So for HelloFresh, if you're agreeable, what would be like, I don't know, some of the wins that you think you've had since HelloFresh are using the product analytics model? Like what's just working well for you there?
Yeah, so in terms of HelloFresh and what we do here, of course, at a high level, we some of the themes that we're currently exploring and that we're having a lot of joy with are topics like self-serve for stakeholders. So we have a constant kind of battle, as any analytics team does, between tactical data pulls for other people to kind of think about the implications of that data and positioning the analyst as a strategic partner within the teams that they operate in. So there's still the need for the provision of data, but the more that we can provide self-serve into that space to enable our counterparts to be able to get that data, the more space we create for product analysts to do more interesting work and more strategically impactful work. We also have a number of kind of bespoke analytical data products that we create as well. So these are things which provide a lot of value to the team, and we treat as products because they're things that we need to improve, understand our user needs for, and iterate. Supporting the understanding of user journeys more holistically. So, of course, our teams are kind of focused around very specific parts of the user experience, but we want to understand behavior at a more general level as well. How are customers moving through our experience? How are they achieving the jobs they have to be done? And what does that mean for the squads that provide parts of that experience together? We also, for example, have created a view of the cost of error, so a data science product, so particular to our own business model. So I'll have to let your listeners know about HelloFresh. It's a meal box service. So of course, one of the things that we battle against is making sure that we've got exactly the right product with the right quality in each box. For the few customers who we inadvertently ship below that standard that we hold ourselves to, we want to understand what the cost of that is. It's super important for us to be able to optimize the various things that we do to reduce the number of errors or recover customers who have been exposed to errors. So again, that's a kind of an interesting data science play, propensity score matching. It's not an experiment that we roll out to customers. Right, let's put some dodgy carrots in their box and see how it impacts them. We have to do something a little bit more funky to be able to understand that. A final topic I want to say about is event tracking. So we base all of this insight, or a lot of it, on front-end behavioral tracking. So how people, the events that get fired when you move around our digital products. So we're creating governance layers on top of that to ensure that the quality of that data is really high. It's something which a lot of teams struggle with, who work with behavioral data, because it's such a agile place in terms of engineers affecting the user experience, and that can inadvertently break or change the meaning of particular events. So we put a lot of effort into that, and I think that really pays dividends downstream.
Good. Ben, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. I'm going to let you get on. So the good news is you've survived your second interview with me. You inadvertently said something there, which is your topic for 2025. So I'll be inviting you back. And I'll just say thank you for all your insights on the topic. I've wanted to speak to you for a year. So Ben, thanks for all your insights. Ladies and gents, this has been Emails Like Team Spirit.